Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, the one, the only master propaganda hero site defender of the fatherland, off here to 1v1 on Twin Coasts. I think it's Twin Coasts. Anyways, off here to that map here. In the north, well, it's me. In the south is my opponent, Ohmygod321, fighting the Americans, the 3rd Infantry Division. Sitting out here with the Armoured Fallschirm Panzergrenadier Division. And I, well, go for Luftwaffe ground forces with Fallschirm Pioniere. Luftwaffe combat groups infantry serves the LG-40 recoilless launcher, Flak 36s, Stuka strafing runs, Fallschirmjägers, fragmentation bombs, Stuka Loiters, and reconnaissance run. We got Pioniere there, busy up by the fuel point, Kettenkraut rushing southwards here, and Fallschirm Pioniere dropping out here. For those wondering what Fallschirm Pioniere were, well, they were basically, you know, as the name hints, the Pioniere of a Fallschirmjäger division. And, you know, like you see the Panzerpionier or whatever, they're basically meant to, like, it'll be tougher troops. Of course, companies-wise, they're always a bit weaker in a sense, but, you know, even these Fallschirm Pionier are pretty good. But, like, in the actual war, the Fallschirm Pionier were basically some of the best troops in the Fallschirmjäger division. So, fun fact there. Ken crank southwards here with the... I forgot to actually add the communications cables, actually, and I only realised this much later on. Bit of an oversight by me. This is a very good upgrade, though. Very good. Fallschirm moving forward here. Note I'm laying down sandbags as we move along here to help make the point support defense on the south. The Kettenkraut moving forwards. Very high utility vehicle was also used by the Luftwaffe as the war went on to tow or taxi aircraft on the run fields, amongst other things. Yeah, it was a little fun fact. They also made a basically a Goliath version, as known as the Springer. Not a lot of them, but there are definitely ones that could sort of blow up. MG42 out here, advancing in the center of the Fallschirm Pionier. Up north, we got the Pioneer spot here by the Scouts, under the 3rd Infantry Division's command. Ralph squad here pushing back the Kettenkraut. Obviously, I have no intention of losing that one. More Ralph squad arriving here. Western Victor falling to the hands of the Yankees. North here, Fallschirm Pionier with Pioneer spot going for here. As for the Hermann Göring Fallschirm Panzergrenadier Division itself, it was basically the pet project of Hermann Göring. Starting out initially as a police unit, later became a flak regiment, and then finally he sort of pushed towards an actual army unit, 1st Panzergrenadier Division. Fought in Tunisia, actually, got completely wiped out, rebuilt, fought in Italy, then was moved to the Eastern Front. It was eventually upgraded to a Panzer Division, and finally a full-on Panzer Corps with a Panzer Division and a Panzergrenadier Division, amongst other things. So, now they engage in the West, Fallschirm Pionier here, being charged with Ralph squad here, big push here by my opponent, OMG, or Ohmygod. Charging at the Pionier and the Fallschirm Pionier here, the Fallschirm Pioneers. While small and squadrons thus can suffer heavier dropouts and DPS, they're still fairly good troops. Though they do lack snares or any, like, you know, effective grenades, which is, I think, quite important to keep in mind. But on the other end, they do have some good upgrades. They can repair stuff. And they got minesweepers automatically, by the way. Oh, you can need to pop that one out. That's actually a bit of a fun one there. Just noticed that now, actually. Lots there to learn about the game still. Very early on, but there you go. Big push here by our opponent. Able Company. Charging forward here. A lot of riflemen here going in hard against the Krauts. Fallschirm Pionier fighting back here. Going up here for the Panzergrenadier Company. Before being routed here by the sheer number of riflemen here. The lack of an MG42 there. Pretty much forces them back. Meanwhile, machine gun business in the south. At this point, I mean, I could rush it up there, but I apparently felt like I've just risked losing it because I'd be sending it like hatways into like a lot of infantry already spread out. So even like I was able to suppress some, there's a good chance others would, you know, just mess me up. Kettenkraut fixed up. Fallschirm Pionier there. MD Fed falling forward. Attack ground here, by the way, so they automatically engage the rival squad by the munitions point here. So, bit of quantity, MG34, the MG42, I mean, being hauled forwards, slowly but steadily. Fallschirm Pionier attacking, backing up the Pioneers. Catch my squad in the carve point there, meaning I actually get very little resource at the moment here versus my opponent. MG42 catching the last squad, then meanwhile the Pioneers and the Fallschirm Pionier charging in there, forcing away the riflemen. And far south here, I'm exploiting the fact that actually my opponent's mostly focused north and center, so I send my Kettenkraut southwards to seize the point C. Meanwhile, got one MG15 on the Fallschirm Pionier. For those wondering, what the hell is an MG15? Didn't they use the MG42 and the 34? Well, not quite, part because they never could produce enough of them, but also because they actually, you know, in the aircraft mounted a variety of machine guns, which I would say gunners' positions and whatnot. eventually, you know, as aircraft got better armored, a lot of those machine guns they initially had became useless. Well, they couldn't be used there. And so eventually, at some point, they went, you know, we got a lot of these machine guns we can't use for the aircraft. How about we just convert them into light machine guns? And that's the MG-15. This would not be the only time that aircraft weaponry would be used like that. There was also 15cm and 20mm machine cannons in the aircraft, autocannons, that actually be used for stuff like the flak drilling and used mounted on half tracks and trucks. Fun fact. Panzergrenadier squad right here with the Sturmgewehr 44. Straight for the car on flank around my opponent here. Pioneer probably northwards here to put harassment there against my opponent, pushing southwards with the MG-34. Falchion Pioneer, they're working together. Bravo squad advancing again here from our opponent. Larger push here. Tank from both sides, in this case getting a height bonus against my Falchion Pioneer, meaning they're extra exposed, and then I'm just retreating in the face of such a massive assault. I mean, I could try and fight it out, but I'd risk losing, you know, more Falchion Pioneer pointlessly, but also risking wipes, so that will be a bit pointless. Turn around to with the advancing Rav squad here, or platoon in a sense their size there. Punch squad moving to assist here. There we go. Numerous rifle immediately dropped here. MG-42 has pretty high DPS, which, as you might notice, when they don't immediately suppress, but that actually means the units in front of it take full full damage from that. Of course, it does mean you have to still be a bit careful with it, but in other ways, it does mean MG-42 can actually deliver a lot of damage at the right times, or the wrong times if you're the opponent. Pioneer squad northwards here. Again, crowd holding back once more for repairs. Falchion Pioneer going to repair that. Pioneers catching the scout squad here from the 3rd Infantry, and there you go. Having, of course, a lot of Falchion Pioneer also means, besides having a decent combat force, they also get a lot of guys who are pretty solid at repairing stuff. Who said it had to be pretty? Well, I like it pretty. Shut up, Schultz. How's their business south? And I have already gone for the support elements upgrade, which allows me to go for the Stug 3G, which of course I immediately go for. Pretty much, unless I'm up against a lot of Pathfinders need to go for scout cars, I will typically try and rush out a Stug 3G, because, you know, Greyhound. But also the Stug is like, you know, pretty decent versus infantry once upgraded with machine gun. And particularly once it gets veterans 1, it becomes quite good. But there you go, ground rolling in here, armoured car. 50 cal there also added, of course, gives it a good amount of anti-infantry firepower. Also got a mine here, which it dodges. North here, Falchion Pioneer, also controlling another point here, machine moving up here towards the centre. Stug 3G almost there. Almost. North here, Falchion Pioneer, they're looking through the riflemen. Doing well with their M1 Garands and their Thompson submachine gun. They're ultimately nothing against 2 Falchion Pioneer squads with MG-15s. Ground rushing in there. I believe I'll be going here for the Luftwaffe combat group. This allows me to, you know, if I set resources, to go for Wirbelwind and a Jäger squad. Machine gun there wiped out. Bad there for me. Opposite should have treated much sooner. That was a pretty bad call there ahead of time by me. I don't know what I was thinking with that actually, but what I was thinking, it was definitely not the right thing. Ground Evers, the Stug 3G. If it can flank across the ground, has a chance, but if it can't, the Stug obviously has the upper hand here, partly due to having a fair amount of frontal armor. In fact, it has more armor in game than the Panzer IV. Which is sort of accurate because they had somewhat sloped armor, but also lacking a lot of the weak spots of tanks otherwise, owing to the lack of a turret. Rolling headed with the Stug 3G. Veterans 1 there because I went for the Panzergrenadier officer quarters, which also gives my Panzergrenadiers Veterans 1, plus units from that structure, the Panzergrenadier Company, also gain experience faster. So it's definitely a very good upgrade to go for the Wehrmacht. Like, you know, even from the Tier 1, the infantry officer quarters can be very good to have, since that one also benefits units like the Pioneers. Something to consider there. That's, I wouldn't recommend getting in like every building, but like, you know, getting here and there I think is a very good idea. And certainly, depending on which you're going of these 2 buildings, I would certainly recommend just going for it from that building you're going there. The Tier 2 that is. Hit the sun, the field point there. Sharp play there, obviously. Falchion Pioneer there. Reinforcing, and up north here we've got the Rascal caught catching the Kettenkraut there. And I still haven't caught on to the fact that at this point they hasn't upgraded the communications cables. Panzer they're popping up to the Stug 3G here for a bit of ride along. And here we go, my opponent's gone for the Special Operations battle group here. I ordered the Panzers Rush 40 using the mechanized assault, which allows them to sprint, but also makes them harder to hit, so they actually become fairly formidable, assault infantry when that is activated. I mean, they already are, but they become even more nasty there and can be used like surprise an opponent here. Another reason to really get that, officer quarters upgrade going there. The other one, I mean, ultimately, besides just the other small bonus you get, like for example, increased accuracy and acceleration for some Stug. That's a big benefit. Also, the point blank blast. I shall be highlighting the utility of that one eventually. I like it. Hopefully that should give you an idea as to how good it is. But there you go, got a Wirbelwind out here. And we got a Jaeger squad out as well here. It's also part of this little belt group here.
We have lost the sector.
3rd Infantry Division here, giving the Hammond-Göring Fallschirmpanzerdivision a bit of a hard time here for now. Stug rushing southwards there. The Wirbelwind catching the squad here with its flak-feeling gun there mounted in the turret. Absolutely ripping through those riflemen. Quite potent under the right circumstances and just, really cool. Little fun fact, they actually, at the very end of the war, made some flak panzers based off the Panzer III with the Wirbelwind of the Ostwind turret. Little fun fact there. And some going pretty aggressive up north here.
Our territory is exposed. We must
Jägers moving up here, adding the Panzerschreck there to support the Wirbelwind. Or in the case of my Stug, if that needs it. Bigger push in the south here, Stug supporting the Fallschirmpioniere. Smoke deployed here, meaning of course the upgraded scouts. Thumbs up to my opponent, not teammate, for deploying smoke there and, saving his men from being mauled by the Wirbelwind. But yeah, it's really good though. There's definitely a reason why people will, rush out the Wirbelwind if they can get it in some cases. It's certainly also a good reason to go for that though. That's not saying the infantry service ability or choice isn't good either. It's really good, honestly, but part of me, I like having access to like the Wirbelwind like that. Personally. Got the SSF commanders moving forwards. Sort of, I believe they're an American-Canadian commander unit. They can switch between light machine guns and bazookas, which is actually a really powerful upgrade. Stug 3 being rushed here with infantry. Bazookas on the flank, and of course, big problem from the Sturmgeschütz. Quite a heated engagement from the air. Ratsgård trying to got the X-Men from the north. Wirbelwind wing as well. They catch the MU-42 here, but you lost. Stug 3 turning on the Greyhound here. Fallschirmpioniere pioneering a lot of damage. Got grenades here, and that's a white phosphorus grenades. There we go. MD-42 routed. Stug there shoots, misses the Greyhound. Wirbelwind there just ripping into the commandos. Strafing run here available. Stug here ripping into the Yankees. And I believe I might be going out for the point-blank blast. This case, not the most effective one, but still ends up doing a lot of damage here to them. 5 infantrymen killed. As some of you might notice, this is already a lot more killing than our Stug 3G would do in Companies 2, on average. Partly that machine gun upgrade is good, but also that Veterans 1 bonus helps a fair bit as well. It actually has a bit of AoE. Not a lot, not say the Panzer IV, which is quite good as infantry, but it still has some. And then toss in the point blank shot in the right places, and it can really hurt your opponent. Wirbelwind being all back for repairs. Fallschirmpioniere, of course, can rapidly assist. Again, very handy there. Ratsgård charging against the Fallschirmpioniere. There are cases in North Africa of a small Fallschirmpioniere unit actually holding off significantly larger forces. So, definitely some actual tough as nails bastards there. And in general, again, rule of thumb when it came to divisional pioneers, typically the divisional pioneer unit was counted as one a division's elite units, be it from an infantry division, Fallschirmjäger division, Panzer division, you name it. The pioneers were typically amongst the elite units of that one. Grenadier catching the pumpkins up north, routing them. Quite good use of their calls the Greyhound. That one will be causing me quite a bit of grief. And I'm going for the second Stug. Of course, you always operate Stugs in pairs in my world. There you go.
We are losing control of a sector.
I'm going pretty aggressively here, honestly a bit reckless by me, particularly since I just repaired it. It has managed to gain Veterans 1 on its own, which opens up here for the focused fire ability. Jaeger squad heading out in the south here. Jaegers, by the way, for those wondering, what is a Jaeger? Jaegers were basically elite infantry meant for rough terrain, hilly terrain, forest, not quite as extreme as, Gebirgsjägers with the mountains, but, still rough terrain in general. Most of them served on the Eastern Front. So basically just, again, elite infantry divisions. Charging against the scouts in the south here. They're definitely not in a great spot here versus them. But there we go, big rifle force here. Greyhound moving in there. We got Falchion Puny catching the commander squad here. Quite a bit of action here. Pioneers, Falchion Puny here, giving the commanders a hard time. MD-34 here, anti-tanked up the Stooks and the Wirbelwind. And I'm just disengaging here. I probably could have tried like rush in, but honestly, I had not enough information about this, so that I feel like would have been very risky and could have cost me a lot of Stooks, for example, if like, you know, he had another anti-tank or something else behind that. Rushing the Wirbelwind southwards, this is actually a bit of a bad idea for me. In fact, it's a very bad idea because, you know, there's a Grand around and that could actually give the Wirbelwind a really bad time. So, I'm actually making a bit of a bad call here. Yep, Greyhound moving in. Up north, we got the Falchmakers dropping in here. Got the Stooks moving in as well, deal with the Riflemen. And 2 Stooks with machine guns. Can just from the machine guns don't actually do a lot of damage, tossing the Falchmakers, and that Rifle squad very wisely just retreats in south here. Wirbelwind in pursuit of the Greyhound. It is doing some damage to it, as you might notice. I mean, popped focus fire here. And honestly, I probably shouldn't have done that, but, you know, figured I might as well just try and do as much damage to the bloody thing. Since I doubt I was going to be able to get it, I'd run it anyways. Almost had it there, actually, but yeah, in the end, bad call there by me. Very bad call, and I got rightfully punished. North here, Falchmaker squad there with F-242s, catching the Rifle squad out in the open. They do pack quite a bit of a punch there. Quick grenade here. A Steelhand Grenade. Rifleman routed. Panzers moving from northern field point in the southeast. Stooks moving in to assist the Falchion Pioneer. Kettenkrat there, veteran 2 by the way. Getting him moving again. More troops moving northwards. Got the Jaegers and the Pioneers moving in to assist the Panzergrenadier. So yeah, a lot of action here. Stooks moving in as well to assist up north. Being the Falchion Puny in the south to basically fend for themselves. Got the commanders creeping up. They were trying to use the lighthouse there. Not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, things get pretty heated up north here. MD-42 catching my Jaegers. Deploy a smoke grenade, though. A bad Ladung on the Rifle squad here. And I think, yeah, going for the mechanized assault there. Quick grenade on the Panzers, but they quickly just weave right past it. In the south here, more troops arriving, but the Falchion Pioneer are quite tough. I'm surprised he hasn't switched out the light machine guns, because with the light machine guns, those commandos probably ripped my Falchion Pioneer away there with a height advantage. So I guess he's concerned about the Stoogs, but I think he ended up making a back call because of that. Back here, I am going up here for the Panzer Company. Going up the tech tree there. Catching the anti-tank gun here with my Panzergrenadier. Sturmgeschütze also on the move there. Pursuing the anti-tank gun there pretty swiftly and aggressively. North Kettenkrat there by actually ambushing there. Oh, camouflaged. Which it gets, I think, the veteran 2-1. Yeah. Large squad here caught there by the double Stooks, and again, as you might notice, the Stooks are just, you know, doing a fair amount of damage to the infantry out in the open. Yeah, I mean, Stook G's are pretty solid here and pretty nice income to see. Entertaining at the ready again, but fairly low in health and numbers. 3rd Infantry may want to reorganize and line up for some other attacks here up north, though, making some smart progress here with the scouts. Got the Panzer Company up there. I will be going for the side skirts because, you know, I really like side skirts in my Panzers, and it looks cool.
Capture complete. Restock while you can.
MD-42 being hauled forwards, round to the Stooks. Falchmakers is also advancing here, and there you go. Almost got the MD-42 entirely, and there we go, wipe with the Falchmakers. Kettenkrat lost up north here. Bit wasteful, honestly. Got the Rifle squad pushing forward for the southern victory point as well, and up north we got the Grand moving in here. Again, smart move there, engaging where he's probably fairly confident I don't have my assault guns. And that's going to make more easy progress with the Greyhound. Falchion Pioneer, they need to retreat.
Victory point lost.
Hauling the Stooks, now armoured up here northwards.
Totally captured, Commandant.
Ground the sun field for the Rifle Squad. Steady advance here.
Territory sector lost.
Next goal will be a Panda 4. Hunters and Jaegers are catching the Rifle Squad up north. Stooks rolling in. Opponent very quickly skedaddles out there.
Taking our territory.
Obviously having no intention of clashing with so much fairly elite infantry backed up by 2 assault guns. That is a great recipe for suffering heavy casualties. Got the commandos here moving about. Stooks disengaging. Massive assault here in the hill of the field point. Mixed commanders rifling. Actually got light machine for the pants of the commandos here.
One of our capture points is under attack.
Ripping through the German infantry quite quickly. I believe they're actually using the Johnson light machine gun, which is actually the American equivalent to the FD-42. I don't think they looked at it though, but it's sort of like, in a sense, basically the best comparison would be the FD-42. Interesting enough, they don't get to use it as assault rifles. The Germans always get to use the FD-42 as like assault rifles. I don't know why. Anyways, Flash Squad catching a M18 Hellcat, so he's going ahead for the tank destroyers. Smart over there. Greg gets a shot through there, but there you go. Point blank shots. You might notice this time around, this one, more impact. In this case, they do end up suffering a lot of needless damage on my Stooks, but on the other hand, the Commanders and the Rifle Squad there take intense losses. In fact, the Commander Squad is also wiped out. We got the M18 Hellcat rushing in using flanking speed there, I believe. Looks cool there. Bit of a rough spot for me there, though again, I did deliver an absolute punch there to him. Black 36 unlocked. Sturmgeschütz kaputt. Panther 4, the almost done.
Panzer 4 is field ready.
Smoke deployed here in the center. Got Pioneers with a bazooka there pilfered off the Americans.
We have lost control of a victory point.
Fallschirmjäger creeping up here, perhaps having to catch the anti-tank, and there we go. Anti-tank and crew spotted by my erstwhile Fallschirmjägers. Got the Green catching the Fallschirmjägers out in the open. Vetchi 2, they in fact close to Vetchi 3. Very good there for my opponent. Less great for my infantry. Got the Panther blowing up. Adding the Pinmap machine gun there as well. And as all this is happening, I actually stuck my Falchion Puny up for the south. To quickly sweep up the south half of the map here again.
MG42 is here at last.
There you go, machine gun added to the Panzer 4.
Guns are loaded.
13 infantry kills. Sehr gut. Big push here. I believe he's using the sprint ability. The rifleman can get to his veteran's ability. Quick rushing down there. Go quickly calling the Luftwaffe here with a Stuka strafing run. He dodges it though.
Enemy forces have claimed our territory.
Not shabby that said. It does mean my fighting pioneer get a lot of free shots in his rifleman.
The adversary has cut down a squad of infantry.
And here for some reason it reports I lost a squad of infantry. I'm fairly certain I didn't. But oh well, that happens. Large squad here versus the Jaegers, the Panther 4 and the Stug. Unsurprisingly, they have to retreat. South here fighting people up against the Rifle Squad here. Up north here, Panthers catching the Scout Squad here under opponent's command. Also neat little detail if you're wondering how many resource point has started looking. You can also for some note the little flag here. For the smaller ones here, pendants, whatever you call that, actually means a high munitions point, for example, a fuel point. And similarly, if you sort of look at on the minimap, that's difficult to see here. You can also see that it's like little dots around it. The more these little triangles, the more again the point the resources it has as well, the higher value it is.
The enemy has 300
Again, very I think tricky to see here. Now the Panther 4 on the way for me, building up my Panzerwaffe. Using the munitions point, Falchion Pioneer among forwards, backed up by the Pioneers. Panther 4 almost done.
Panzer 4 reporting in.
Another push forwards. Straight at the Falchion Pioneer. I do think he would have benefited from, if not, you know, BARs, which are quite expensive to go for some upgrade, he might have benefited from some grenades or something. But there you go. Greyhound and Sherman winging it back on the Rifleman. Certainly significantly outgunning my opponent's arsenal in terms of armor. But I'm at tagging and realize again my opponent is around here. I actually go for the car point, looking to get up behind them, but also perhaps catch any sort of weaker supporting elements. Falchion Puny launching in first. Catching the Hellcat here, which by had not been repaired. Nice shot from the bazooka there. Fallschirmjäger's Panzer struggling in here. Going on hard there for Deutschland. Almost got the Hellcat there, so that's the main priority. And I believe I'm going to pop focus fire here. Ripping through the Yankees. Like a hot knife through butter. And there you go. GG. Game over. Lost our opponent here in the end. A victory for Das Vaterland. Bit of a shorter match here, but certainly I think a decent highlight there of what the Wehrmacht could do under the right circumstances, and certainly a nice highlight of the Sturmgeschütz 3 Ausführung G. So, yeah, I mean, overall, I think my opponent could have done better. I mean, he could have gone for more commandos overall. I'm a bit surprised he didn't really stuck to like one squad of them. He was also at times, I think, a bit too slow for some switches in the light machine guns and the bazookas. That is one of their, shall say, major advantages. And at times, I feel like he just didn't quite leverage that one particularly well. And at times, I think it also just been more aggressive. He definitely gave him too much time to, like, at times, do whatever I wanted. And obviously, me, I also could have done things better. Definitely have some bad engagement made here and there, which certainly benefited my opponent a fair chunk here. Well, there I think again, just, nice highlight of the various elements of the Wehrmacht and, how to get a good amount of value out of them. Don't think many others go for Stugs like I do, but, I think they're pretty nice. I think they're pretty nice. And particularly, again, once you get the Veterans Who Won bonus going for them, they really become quite solid. So, hope you liked this. Hope you did. And, enjoyed overall. Learned something. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. Consider, supporting the Propagandacast if you support it by, pledging on Patreon, and a big thanks to my Patreon supporters, of course, or donating via PayPal, links in the description. Or if you're looking at this hey, Camera looks pretty cool, I want to buy it, you can do something in the comments, or just head to the official website, and then at the store there, use the promo code STUK3G, and I get a 15% cut of the sales. So, there you go. See you all tomorrow again for a nice episode. Alright.